I felt like I was on the verge of another like nervous breakdown, and I didn't want to have another one. So
right, and that's when you started the whole thing, pretty much, right?
Yeah, that's basically why I'm here. So
you would have had to start a new company if you happened. Switch it up.
I'm just gonna quit Dreadlabs and do like Depressed Labs or something.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jesse Nyberg Podcast. We're here with Tom from Dreadlabs. Second time around, third time podcasting together in total. We have an episode on his channel you guys can check out as well. How you been, man? How you doing?
I've been good. It's good to be back on the show. I feel like it's been like a year on your show, I think.
Yeah, you were like one of the first guests, and I was rewatching some of the video just to kind of see what we were talking about, because I don't even remember that long ago sometimes. And man, like I definitely am proud of how much better I've gotten at talking and interviewing people, because that shit was pretty rough to go back and watch. It's like the third episode.
I remember, and also like the quality has been so much better, and
yeah,
you know, like I see myself sitting there and recording it on my laptop in my like my room that I was still living in with my parents.
Yeah,
and now I'm here in my apartment, you know.
Yeah. Have you changed like full locations, or just like the parts of it's a whole new house, right? Or a whole new apartment?
Yeah. I moved here in January, and it's been just me and my girlfriend here, and it's in another city as well. I used to live in this like smaller, like rural village, I guess, in the Netherlands. And it was like, there was like a bad connection there. You know, you had to do everything by car. You had to take a 45-minute bus just to get to a city with a train station. And now I literally live like 2 minutes from like a train station, and it's pretty much more central, and the city is way better here. A lot of creative people. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah. So you're pretty like disconnected from like urban areas and like a lot of stuff to do and everything at the old place, huh? Yeah,
definitely. Even like before COVID, you know, like there was just so many things to do, and it wasn't really like the stuff that I was interested in, you know, looking at like what I do with Dreadlabs now. So, and there's a lot more people here in this city, like that I've already met, and which I was able to talk to about Dreadlabs or about their career or creativity. So it's really cool. A big difference, very big difference.
Sometimes living out here in LA, I feel like almost the opposite. Like I'm desensitized, because like there's just so much shit going on. Like every single day, my friends are saying like, let's go to this show, or let's do this and let's do that. And like sometimes it's almost like the opposite feeling, where I'm like, I think we should just like kick it, you know, and chill for a second, because there's so much shit to do. It like ruins the kind of like appeal of like looking forward to something, you know, like, oh, this big event, because it's like the same shit every week almost.
All right, you kind of feel numb to it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. What have you kind of been doing this week? Working on anything?
This week, I just got back from Spain last Monday. And
really?
Basically, it was just accepting a lot of client jobs, to which I started. I told them I would start in November. And like I told you before we started recording, but it was way too much to... I really underestimated how much work it was. And before that, like in the last month, we held a Creatober challenge with Dreadlabs, where people would have to create something with a different creative prompt for every day of the month of October. And I still have to pick the winners out of those. And I would be giving away 42 prizes. So I have to still pick 42 people to win a prize. And because I took so many freelance jobs this week, it kind of has pushed back to next week, sadly. But that's what I've been up to, man.
Yeah. What are these jobs you're going to be working on throughout the whole month, pretty much? Or are they like shorter stuff?
Some shorter stuff. There was a couple of things that I was already working on in October, and I just like finished it up this week. And then there's a couple of ones that just started out, probably going to run for 1 or 2 months maybe. So a couple of bigger projects, and then there are also some like quick stuff, you know, like something that you just have to fix in a week, and that's fine.
Yeah. What kind of like projects have you been doing? Because obviously I see what you do with Dreadlabs and like all your online, like I guess personal and like kind of self-initiated stuff. But what kind of like projects and clients do you usually get?
So yeah, now that you say it, I realize that I actually have a portfolio account, but I never really posted on it anymore. I think the last post that I did was like maybe like 5 months ago, 6 months ago or something.
Oh, damn.
But it's been pretty inactive. But I usually work for clients in the music industry, mainly DJs. And the projects I've been working for or started working on this week is like two different brandings for two different DJs. We're just starting to get into the scene. So basically getting a logo package and a branding, some social rollouts. And basically, well, that's what I've been working on this week. But then, usually I also do like event brandings. But yeah, due to COVID and here in the Netherlands, they really have been shifting around like whether it's okay or not okay to host events. And now it's slowly getting back there. So I'm also doing a lot of event related stuff. And yeah, doing a lot of stuff in the background with like some other, like not Dreadlabs related, but still like small businesses with a friend of mine. Also DJ related. But yeah. It's still a little bit in the works. So I'll tell you about it once we have something more to talk about.
Yeah. I feel like I don't post all my stuff like on Instagram because even when I like it or enjoy it, like sometimes it feels like if it's like a logo, sometimes I feel weird about just putting it as like a post because it feels like it's just like a logo in like this space that's like infinite, and it kind of feels weird in like the square. Or you do a project and you're not allowed to tell anyone for like a year, like because whatever's like going on with NDAs or, people sometimes if it's a small business or someone just starting out, like you do the shit for them and then they never even like do their thing. They never like make music or make the company or whatever. So it's just kind of like, I don't know if I should post it because it doesn't even really exist, Yeah,
I've had that happen to me as well. And also, those NDAs can be like so annoying. Another thing that I really hate is like when I do a project with multiple people, and for example, I was asked to do like art direction, but then someone else does the design. I don't feel comfortable posting it on my Instagram, or when I only do like a 3D render when it's another person's project. Like I prefer to do. I think it's allowed, I guess, but it feels to me like I'm just like showing off someone else's work and taking credit for it, I guess, if that makes sense.
I was talking to, I had these girls on the podcast, like Chutzpah Design. They're like these two sisters that run the agency. And they were saying how you'll see a designer's portfolio and like they worked at like some agency that worked for a project for Nike or whatever, right? And like 10 people have the same project in their portfolio and like you don't even know who did what and they're all taking credit for like the same shit pretty much.
I guess that's where like those new Instagram features come in handy, right? Like where you can collaborate with someone. But
I'm stoked about that. I think that is honestly the best thing that they've done in like the past year. Really.
Yeah. Like finally like repost accounts can give proper credit. I don't think a lot of pages are gonna do it, but I feel like the good guys, we know the good guys, right? They're probably gonna do it.
It should be like required, they shouldn't even let those pages post without the collab feature on. I'm stoked though. I've been talking to some people trying to get some kind of in the works, but it's such a weird thing. Like I don't really know how to go about doing it. Like, do I do some of it and then give it to them? Do we work on it together? Yeah. Like, it's a weird thing, kind of.
Yeah, I've only like really worked with people where we did like different jobs, where I would do 3D rendering and someone else did like graphic design, and but I'm not sure. Like, I always think like, for example, my Photoshop files would be way too messy to collaborate, to let someone else open, and
you'd be embarrassed.
Yeah. I'd have to like take half an hour to clean everything up, and then I know.
I used to do that at when I worked at this agency. They'd be like, send me over your like files, like we want to see like where you're at, and like maybe the art director would take it over or whatever, and I'd be like, all right, 1 sec, and I'd just be in there like trying to label it with colors and like make it all nice, because that shit was fucked. There was no like folders or anything, just crazy.
It's always like those projects where you're thinking like, oh, this is just going to take like 10 minutes. And then it just like keeps on getting more and more, just keeps piling into it, and then you just like there's like a deadline. You have to like be quick, and then you don't have time to arrange everything, and then suddenly you have to hand it over, and then that's where you're fucked.
Sometimes I do this thing too where I'll group everything and then I'll make a new one like, all right, this is version 2 or whatever in the same like layers like panel, and then it just gets crazy because they'll be like, can you send us like the 3rd one? And I'm like trying to look through all this shit, figure out where it is. I think that's it's funny though when you talk to people about this, because it feels like everyone is like the same, you know, like everyone has that same like shit, or they're all like think the same things. Like I guess it makes sense because a lot of designers like they have similar interests and stuff, but it's like those memes you see where it's like, oh, we all grew up like living the same life or whatever, and it's like some nostalgic shit or something.
Do you remember? I don't know if you've ever played Pokemon when you were younger. So did you guys have like rumors on the playground, like you've maybe heard of like the Mew under the truck, or if you do this and walk the right back, then this legendary Pokemon pops up? Like there was this thing, and I don't know how, but like somehow this happened in America and in the Netherlands, like where I find that so crazy, you know, like where did it originate from, and how did it transfer between countries, you know? Yeah,
and before the internet, I feel like no one like if you told someone something, they would just believe it their whole life. They would never check it. They never confirm, like, because like why would they be lying about something so like insignificant, you know? Like sometimes I feel like I tell people things and I'm not lying, but maybe I was just wrong. Maybe, you know,
maybe like someone else told me this, and
and then they tell people like their whole life, I feel like, and then one day I like see him again, and I'm like, yo, like that wasn't even like, that's not true, you know, got to clear that up.
I think that's basically also how like I don't know if you've ever had this, but I've had certain words that I've been pronouncing wrong for like way too long, you know, like I'm realizing at like age 18 or something that I've been pronouncing
when someone
something
tells
wrong.
You finally, you're like, what the fuck, why did no one tell me my whole life? Do you ever is that in like what language? English or
no, in Dutch.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Yeah, it's like you could compare it like it's the Dutch word for postcard, like when you that's something that you send like when you're on a holiday. And I just like put in like a couple of extra letters in the Dutch word for somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I always find it funny too how I noticed there's just so many things that between talking to all the people from Europe and like the UK that there's so many words that are different for the same thing. Like holiday, we would never say it that way. It'd be like vacation, you know? Holiday would be like the actual event, you know, like what holiday is it? Christmas or whatever. But you'd say I'm going on vacation. I feel like everyone over there says I'm going on holiday, right?
Yeah, I've actually been struggling with that because before I went to Spain, I think I had to like type it out in like a post or something. And it was like, and I was like thinking to myself, like, should I like write holiday or vacation? Because like
both.
I just like I thought like, okay, holiday sounds like Christmas to me, you know, like so I was like, I'm going on a vacation, I guess.
Was that good? Like, did that feel nice to kind of take a break? Was it a week?
Yeah. It was a week to Tenerife. I think I pronounced it right.
Is it like
an island near Morocco?
Oh, okay.
So it was like, you guys have Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like 25 degrees Celsius. So I'm not sure how hot that is, but it was really nice weather.
Or just pretty good.
Yeah. Let me see if I can convert.
I'll look it up. 77. Yeah, that's good. That's like good medium weather right there.
Yeah. So in the Netherlands, like it was like almost freezing. So
oh shit,
there's a very big difference here. But yeah, we like. When our plane landed, we flew right back into the winter depression. So that was a shame, but
yeah. Is that like, do you feel like those breaks and stuff are pretty important to you? Like you kind of need that to reset with all the stuff you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. What's been really hard on me is like the last time I actually went on a vacation was in 2018. And I've had a couple of breaks before where I would, for example, due to COVID, me and my girlfriend went on a road trip through the Netherlands last year. But it doesn't really feel the same as, you know, like getting onto a plane to like a country that's like has nicer weather and just like no, like there's no like you don't have to do anything, you know. You can just like I don't know, lay on a beach, lay at the beach the whole day and chill out. And that's something that I never really realized it, because I'm usually like the person that when I go on a holiday, I want to discover stuff and I want to do things. Yeah. But this time I realized, okay, I really need a break and I need to chill out, you know, because I felt like I was on the verge of another like nervous breakdown and I didn't want to have another one. So
right. And that's when you started the whole thing pretty much, right?
Yeah, that's basically why I'm here. So
you would have had to start a new company if you happened. Switch it up.
I'm just going to quit Dreadlabs and do like Depressed Labs or something.
Yeah. I think I'm the same way. Like I need to get better at doing nothing. Like I have a really hard time. I don't know if it's like something I need to figure out and mentally. Like I have a hard time kind of being alone, like just with myself and no tasks to do or no like activities. Like if I was just sitting on the beach after like an hour, I feel like I'd get like very stressed out. Like I need someone to talk to or something to do. And that's not a good thing. You're supposed to be able to like people like that are super at peace. Like they could sit there for like monks and shit, you know, and they sit there forever. I don't know. I think it's also a part of just the world that we live in. Like there's so much shit always going on. When there finally isn't, it's like uncomfortable because you're so used to, you know, getting notifications or getting like, I don't know, anything like, especially as designers, like I feel like a lot of us have this kind of scatterbrained, like where we're doing all these different tasks at once. Yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely. Like me and my girlfriend, we were like, we've been like going on walks and like discovering all of these like smaller towns and like nature preserves and whatever. Yeah. And then like on the last day, we were just like, okay, now we're gonna chill out and, you know, like go to like the pool side and just hang out there and just like before it was like lunch break, we were like, okay, we need to do something. You know, like we were like twitching and. That's when I kind of realized the same thing. So I wanted to do like more. I maybe like wanted to like read a mindfulness book or something in the near future to, you know, see if I can get that like I don't know if it's called like enlightenment or something, but you know, like I want to see if I can reduce all of these notifications that come from your phone, your laptop, your computer, the compulsion to create something, to design, to own a company, to, you know, it's almost been like way too much.
What's the word? Ambitions are like almost dangerous. Like when you're very inspired and want to do all these things, it's like too much. Like you can't handle it sometimes. And that's like that thing I did recently, the digital minimalism thing. I've been trying to keep it up. I did that for the month of September. It just took me a while to put the video together and stuff, but I already catch myself like checking like my Instagram way more and like, I deleted the app off my phone for Twitter, but like I caught myself one day like just going on it on Safari, you know, and I was like,
really?
Yeah. I was like, damn it. Like, but it's weird, like during the time though, especially when I was reading the book like actively, it's so much easier. Like I feel like those like self-help or mindfulness books, like they work, but it's almost like they only work until you're done reading it. Like you feel like you want to do this thing, and then once you're like done, you have to read it like every couple of months, I feel like. But overall it was cool, and I think everyone that works with computers can afford to just relax a little bit more and get your mind off the internet.
Yeah, I think it's I've been listening to this mindfulness podcast, and the guy was like explaining like it's not just like being at peace with yourself or whatever. It's literally like the art to focus on one thing at a time, and it's not something that just can be done. And people beat themselves up real quick if it doesn't work. But it's just I think it's something that you like have to really like learn to do better and better. And like you said, like when you're reading a book, you're probably like focusing all of your attention to that book, which can give you peace of mind because you're like locking everything else out. And I think the trick is to like learn to do that, for example, with, I don't know, like breathing, meditation, I don't know, maybe like focusing on like just listening to a song when you're like sitting on the couch or whatever, you know. But yeah, that's something that I really, really want to get into, because I feel like it's going to be the death of me if I don't.
Yeah, I've been trying to also, when I'm working on stuff, like let's say I have to edit a video or I'm designing a poster, whatever it may be, I try to do that thing from, maybe I don't finish it if it's like a video, but do that thing and solely do that thing for a set amount of time, and you know, put my phone away, like don't have other tabs open, because even if you check your email for like 1 second, even if you don't reply or you check social media, like then it's still stuck in the back of your head while you're trying to do like whatever you're working on. You're thinking like, oh, I still need to tell like Tom like about this thing, you know, that he emailed me about, and you're just sitting there like, and it ruins it. So like I've been trying to also tell like my girlfriend, like, all right, for these 2 hours, like just, even though I don't want to get mad at you, but just don't even come into the office, you know? Cause like if I'll start talking to you, and then even if it's a few minutes, I'll get back to what I was doing, and you completely lost. Like you need like 30 minutes to really get into like that, like deep flow state, you know? Yeah,
definitely. And that's something that I've been struggling with as well. And I think I shared this rule at some point on my channel. It's like it's something that I used to do to get more things done in the day. And it's the rule, like if you can do something within 5 minutes, do it. But if you're having like 40 things to do within 5 minutes, you just lose track and you lose sight of what you need to do. So it's way better to just like work on something for like 30 minutes and then open yourself up to like the next thing, because otherwise your brain's gonna get scattered and it's not gonna work.
It's like when you have too many tabs open, but it's like that in your brain, you know?
Yeah, dude, exactly.
And then you need a stronger like CPU if you're gonna power all that. And I think, like I've been trying to also schedule everything like a lot more specifically. Like even an hour of time, I'll try to be like I don't schedule anything less than an hour. Even if it's a thing that's going to take 5 minutes, I'll write like the 3 things in that 1 hour block or whatever. But even that, like, it makes you feel like, oh, well, I have to do it. Like it's written down, you know, like I already put it there, and you don't even want to like, sometimes I do it cause I don't want to have to rearrange the schedule. So I'm like, I guess I have to do it, you know?
Yeah. But that means that it works. And I've tried that a couple of times, but like sometimes when I just have way too much to do, I tend to not like write it down in my like calendar or something. But yeah, that's also like when it like things start to go to hell, you know, like and then I can like punch myself afterwards, because I was like I feel like if I would have done it and if I would have wrote it down in the calendar, I would have get it done like an hour earlier or something, you know?
Yeah,
because you're going to work on it faster if you also know that you have like an hour to do it or something. If it's like a bigger thing. You know?
Right. If you give yourself a restriction, it's like if you give yourself something 4 hours to do something or 1 hour, you're going to take 4 hours if you give yourself that much time, even if you could complete it in an hour. And I feel like that's why a lot of people like have to go to school or like need a boss or like need a job like that because they're not able to. And not because like they're not smart or anything, but the way that they just work, they're not able to do that themselves. They need someone to give them their different hours for them. And sometimes I feel like I'm jealous of that. Like I like working on my own and it's probably the best thing for me. But sometimes I'm like, I wish I had someone to just like blame and report to and like be like, what do I do now? Because I don't know what's going on.
I've had the same thing where I was like... I don't mean this to be like offensive to anyone, but I sometimes told my girlfriend, for example, like, oh, I wish I wasn't like ambitious, so I could have just done like a 9 to 5 where I don't have to think about it anymore, you know? Or but I know if I would do that, I wouldn't be happy, you know? So it's
you got to choose like what stress you want. Do you want the stress of like feeling like you're not doing what you really want to do, or do you want the stress of trying to do what you really want to do and like hoping it works out, you know?
It's crazy. Dude, like they both hit very different, you know. I've had to work like really hard to get this kind of stress, and I'm having tasted both, I know I don't want to go back to that one, and I think you're the same, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think the only way I'd go back to like a proper design job, like where I'm an employee, is if I have to. Like I'll do that instead of working like, you know, at a restaurant or whatever. Or if it's something where it's like, you know, me, like let's say it was like me, you, and like 2 other designers, and we all lived in the same city, and we just started like a studio or something like that. I could be down with, like we just like a few creative directors and just do some cool projects. But I don't know if I'd want to work like in-house again, because that shit's like, you're just like a really like an order taker. Like it feels very like labor, like a labor job. Like when I was working in-house, my first job as an intern, it felt the same way as when I worked at like fast food. Like they were just like, do these things, report to me, and then when you're done, you can leave, you know? It's kind of like that. But.
And also, it's never that's the cool part about like being a freelancer, and maybe not at first, but eventually you can pick and choose which jobs you want to take on and which ones you don't want to reject. And obviously, when you're in-house, you never really have that choice, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I remember Keezy telling me about this when I had him on, though. He made a good point. Is he said like sometimes those things that you didn't want to do, like you need those, because when you're on your own, you'll never do that. Like you'll never do some shit you don't want to do. Right. But a lot of those things you didn't want to do at your job, like you learn shit from it, you know? So like,
definitely.
If I get a job and I think, oh, I'm scared, or I don't want to do it because it seems like stressful, then I'll probably still like be like, okay, you should do it. But if I just don't have enough time, or if it's not worth the money, I won't do it. But I try to figure out, is it fear or is it like actually a bad job, you know?
It's sometimes a little bit hard to see at first because you don't really know what to get out of this job yet, you know? Like,
do you have trouble like not denying them? Like it takes like, it depends how well I'm doing that month, but if I'm doing well, even if I have enough money and I have enough jobs, I still find myself like not wanting to say no to anything, because I feel like, I don't know, what if I never get another job? I kind of feel that way sometimes.
I always try to take into account things like, does this person have any more connections that could be beneficial for me in some way? Like
value outside of money, pretty much.
Yeah. And also like, or maybe even like, can this person lead me to multiple jobs, or could this eventually lead to like a more fulfilling job than this current one? And then also, I'm super blessed to have like Dreadlabs as a safety net for each month, basically. But yeah, I've had a couple of times where I was like, okay, this is just either a little bit beneath my level in terms of what it is, or what this person wants. You know, it's like some people just like see, for example, the amount of followers I have on Instagram, and then want me to do a design that has nothing to do with the style or expertise that I have. You know, they just want me to do like something super like probably like 1,000 of my followers who have a different style, for example, would have done that better than me, you know?
Yeah, I understand that.
And those are the ones I reject. And if they're like ones that I've been like a little bit hesitant about, it's never like a bad thing, I think, to ask a little bit more. Like, you know, maybe like up your rate a little bit or something.
Right. Especially if the less I want to do it, the more I'll quote them. Because then if they say no, I'm like, all right, I didn't want to do it anyway.
If definitely. Say yes. There's two. It can only end positive. Like either you don't have to do it, and if you have to do it, you know, like you're gonna get paid more. And usually, I think it's the same with you. Like these jobs always tend to be ones where you have to either do more work than you accounted for, or have like difficult conversations, or you know, there's always something that makes you think like, oh, I'm glad I asked more because it takes more time, or it takes more effort, you know?
Yeah, that when you don't, that shit sucks. And the people that pay the most too, I realize, like, they're also the easiest. Like I've worked with big companies and they're just like, all right, like shut up. Like this is the money, like whatever, like we don't care about your rate, but just finish this in like, 2 weeks. And then I do it and they're like, all right, cool. Like, thank you. And then we don't talk anymore. I'm like, all right, dope. Like, it's like a very seamless transaction. Sometimes on the other hand, you work with like a friend or something, you like hook them up for a lower price. And then halfway through, they're like, I don't know if I really like this. And you're like, fuck, like, why did I do this again? Every time you do it, it's like, sometimes I feel like as designers, we're like masochists, like we're just doing it to ourselves. Like we want to have that like stress or something. But how do you divide? Cause I'd have to do this as well. I guess mine isn't like as much as a company. It's just my own side stuff. But how do you divide Dreadlabs and projects? Like, do you prioritize one or the other and like time and stuff?
Well, at first I did, like when I would have more jobs in that month, I would like put Dreadlabs on like I would just like plan ahead a little bit content wise for Dreadlabs, and let it do its own thing. Mm-hmm. And then but now like as of September I started like doing this like it's kind of like a teaching job at the university in this city.
Oh yeah.
It's 8 hours a week, and I basically at a certain minor, it's called Transmedia for Creative Industries. I basically oversee and do workshops in Adobe software, Cinema 4D, stuff like that. So, and I follow this minor as well, so that's how I rolled into it. Okay. And the team is really cool, and you meet international people, which I really like. But that made my life a little easier because I have to do these classes on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, which
are they in person?
I basically, sorry?
In person or online?
Yeah. Okay. In person. So basically, that kind of gave me a little bit of a grip because I have to schedule my own time around this now.
Right.
So yeah, if it's like usually the week looks like, okay, Monday is a full day of Dreadlabs. Then Tuesday morning, I go and do a workshop. And then Tuesday in the afternoon, freelancing. And then Wednesdays, Dreadlabs again, full day. Then Thursdays, basically the same as Tuesday. And then Friday, depending on whether I have a lot of jobs or not, I basically do half a day Dreadlabs, half a day like projects. So yeah, and I try to like get it like that. And sometimes it switches around a little bit or like, some emergencies come in between. But that's right. I try to make my schedule look like that.
That's good. I'm not as like, I don't have as many like days like that. I am more every week. It's like I set it up differently because, maybe the project needs like 4 days or whatever because it's really hard. But that's good. Like if you give yourself those days, it helps with, I find the hardest days to plan are when I don't have a project and I don't have anything I have to do, but it's like, oh, this day you should like do a video or should design something for Instagram. If I don't have to, like if I have weeks of shit planned, I'm like, I don't know, like if I want to do anything right now, and I just procrastinate. But I feel like I find sometimes I don't follow my schedule either. Like I won't do shit all day, but I'll get crazy like inspiration at night and work for like 4 hours. I feel like it's hard to plan out like more art shit like that you're making from nothing because it's hard to like schedule inspiration, like be like you have to be ready to fucking make shit at this time. Like sometimes you feel like you're way more creative at like 2 a.m. than at 9 a.m. or whatever. Yeah,
definitely. The one thing I do try, and I think I do the same, I like what you told me, I do the same for Dreadlabs sometimes. But for my clients, I as of a few months ago, I tried to make it very clear that I only work from Monday till Friday between 9 to 5. You can just get in touch with me. If you call me on the weekends or email me on the weekends, I will respond on Monday.
That's good.
I won't work in the evenings, and I try to explain it when it's like clients not from the Netherlands or from another time zone at least. But yeah, those are mainly because they're in another time zone. They usually already like presume that I won't be responding immediately, which is nice.
Yeah.
But some Dutch clients tend to like get in touch with me, like on Friday night, like it's like Friday at 9 p.m. almost now. And sometimes like people call me and I was like, I just always ignore it,
Yeah. I'm so bad at ignoring it, but I really try to like, cause I see it and I want to be like like I really had to force myself to wait, until like Monday or whatever. Cause sometimes I'll just start fucking like, I just, whatever, like fuck this person. I just want to do this revision, at like midnight and send it back to them. But then like, if you give them that power, then they think you're always ready to go at like the middle of the night or whatever. I find it too when I work with people, like if I'm working with someone where you're at, they respond, I see it in the morning, I respond, they don't see it till the next day because it's already night, and it takes a whole day to get revisions, like back and forth. I wanted to ask you about the teaching thing. How, like, what do you do exactly? Is it like your own class? Like, what are you teaching?
So basically I'll try to explain what the minor is a little bit before I do that, because it's like a 6-month program. And the class is basically like, it's 50% Dutch people and 50% international exchange students. And the whole thing is about transmedia, and I don't know if you're familiar with it. Transmedia and storytelling.
I don't know, like I'm sure it means something else over here, but
so it's basically like you learn all sorts of stuff about like campaigns that transcend between different digital and physical platforms, while like getting you through like a story in a campaign. It's pretty interesting, but I followed this thing I think it was in 2018 or 2019 or something. And then after I graduated, they asked me to do a couple of guest lectures in After Effects, and I was happy to do it. And then as of this September, they approached me and asked me if I could do it like on a weekly basis, which I found really fun, because I was like when I did these guest lectures, you really wouldn't really connect with the students there. And when I was a student there myself, I really love to get in touch with international students, like talk about them, see how they like the Netherlands. And, it's always nice to talk to someone from like another region of the world or something. So that's what like kind of motivated me. Like I want to get more in touch with these students, which is how I rolled into it. Basically, as of next semester, I will be like conducting a whole program there probably. But basically we start with Photoshop to teach them like how to create mood boards, because a couple of these students already have experiences with Adobe and stuff, but some of them have like no experience at all. So we kind of want to have like we want to get the basics there out of there, like in Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. And then a little bit of video editing and motion design with Premiere Pro and After Effects. And then slowly getting into advanced classes, showing you doing specific workshops in front of like a class in Photoshop or maybe in Cinema 4D, Instagram filters, basically all of these tools that I try to teach.
Are they designers then, or not really?
It depends really. Like every semester they have a couple of people from Vega, which is like a graphic design school, if I'm not mistaken, from like South Africa. But then from like, I don't know, there are other countries where they are just doing like a communication study and they've never touched Photoshop before.
Yeah, or like journalism or something like that.
Yeah, journalism. There's also like sports economy. Like they do like it's like business school with sport in the sport industry and stuff like that. Okay. So yeah,
that's cool. If you have that and like Dreadlabs, YouTube, Patreon, and all that, would you be fine without any projects for a whole month?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I really want to get something set up like that, because where I'm at, it's not currently that way. It's probably 25% of what I would want in like a given month. But that must feel good, because that makes you be a lot more like selective and secure with your freelance stuff. Yeah,
definitely. And it also gives me the opportunity to divide my time a bit in something more that I would like to do over what would bring in more money, So that's really, I'm really fortunate to do that as well. I'm currently like looking into seeing if I have more ways to make passive income with, for example, like I'm seeing if I maybe like want to start a couple of like actual video courses, maybe through like something like Skillshare, maybe just like sell it in the Dreadlabs web store for a set amount of money, right? Do a couple of more premium tutorial videos, because I feel like the more basic tutorials and the more like small, like quick little things that you can learn in Photoshop and Illustrator. I'm kind of like over those, I guess, you know, like I don't see a lot of them anymore that I can come up with, you know?
Yeah. I didn't even feel like there was any when I started. Like, I feel like I've seen so much shit. Like, you've done a good job at, like, I'll see some of yours. I'm like, oh, okay, that's smart. But I know some of these channels that have been doing that shit for like 5 years. And I'm like, how do they even, like, they get so specific now. They're like, how to design like a gun, like animating in a grocery store in Photoshop and After Effects or something, like
with only using your left hand.
Yeah, like some shit you'd never want to know, you know, and then, because like everyone's done the basics. I find it hard to do. I got approached recently from this company called like Creative Fabrica, and they're like a
oh yeah, they approached me too, actually.
Yeah, they're like the Skillshare like type shit.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot more like the people on there, I feel like don't really know, like they're very like more like craft people, and like it's a very like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like people that, it's like Pinterest vibes, you know, like kind of stuff.
I don't want to like I don't mean this in an offensive way, but it looks more like a hobby thing. Like arts and crafts and but I also don't really see our style fitting into that website anyway.
Yeah, and what I did was, well, I did some shit for them, but what it is like it's stuff I wouldn't put on the channel. Like it's like basics. Like I went over like basic shit in Photoshop, basic Illustrator shit, and then like I'm gonna do another one that's like just like kind of basics to like creating a layout and like typography, because they approached me with their whole thing saying how like the people on there and they need to learn design, but like they don't know anything. So I was like, all right, because like that kind of stuff I wouldn't put on my own channels, because I assume that anyone that we know like knows how to like, you know, set up a file and stuff like that, basic shit. And it's kind of just boring too, and you have to make the videos have to be pretty long to go over. But they paid it, like it paid decent, so I was like, whatever, I'll do it. But yeah, it definitely has a different vibe. I would like to get some other stuff set up on something like Skillshare or something, but it seems like you need to already have like, you need a pretty big like following to translate over to some of those other sites to be like, definitely. Now I have a course, or now I have a Skillshare, whatever it may be.
And I also see these channels that are like a little bit bigger than mine. I see them struggling with like getting their own website with courses set up, and then them juggling with Skillshare and then like with other platforms. So seeing that like happen on their channels is just like it just like makes it clear to me that it's still like really hard to choose which platform they use and how to approach it. And there's no one good platform to do it on, I think.
Yeah, everyone's audience too has different like levels of engagement. There's people I know with 10,000 followers, and they have like that. They really have that dialed in, like 1,000 true fans thing, you know, like they can push hella products. Everyone will sign up for whatever they're offering. And then there's other people with hundreds of thousands of followers, and like their engagement shit, you know, and like they can't even sell like their own t-shirts or whatever, because their audience doesn't like care, either doesn't care about them enough, or it's too diverse that they don't really know what to like market to. So like, I remember when I first read that, like you've heard of that 1,000 true fans thing, right? That whole theory. That shit's so true. Like getting a super niche pocket of people that like you and support you is so much more important than like trying to hit every market at once. Yeah,
definitely. I've been there's like this Dutch guy, and I think he makes sneakers and streetwear and everything, and his audience is way smaller than ours. But I think like every single drop that he does, he sells out, and he doesn't like sell like 5 t-shirts per drop or something. Like he does sell a lot, and he just sells it out every time because his fans are so dedicated. That's I know like 99% sure that I wouldn't sell out with my audience, because I feel like it's getting spread out more and more the more that I grow, I guess. Right. You know, and I feel like we're in a pretty specific niche to begin with, but even so, it's still pretty much spread out already. You know what I mean? Like I think after like 10,000 followers or something, it starts to like diverge a little bit, I guess.
There's a lot of crossover too. Like everyone that knows this person probably also. Like you're not like I'm probably not introducing you right now to anyone new. Do you know, if we do this podcast, they already know who you are, or the other way around. It's probably pretty similar. And I feel like sometimes like the audience it's too much other creatives. Like you need normal just people too to be like engaging with it, because a person that just appreciates art is going to be more likely to buy a print than another designer that's trying to sell their own shit, you know? So it's kind of like, I think that dude like Ed Reicha, he has a good following base of actual just normal people that like his shit, because it's like relatable, and it's like it's very like, I like it's like not in a bad way, but it's like easy to digest. Like, you know what you're getting. It's like this style that he's kind of figured out. The quotes are like relatable. Everyone shares it. And then
it's almost like soothing to the audience, I feel like, you know? Yeah. Like it's the same with like, for example, lo-fi, you know, like I've listened to probably like 1,000 lo-fi songs, but I cannot like name one right now, you know? It's just soothing and calming, and it's relaxing.
24/7 study beats. Like
right.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the same way with that. A lot of my homies that make like techno and shit, they're like, fuck that shit, you know, like they hate that, but like they hate it for the same reason, is like, because their shit that they do is like very specific, and a certain type of person likes it. The lo-fi, it's like you could make a simple like boom bap beat and get like 1 million plays on it, you know? Yeah. It's just like easy to understand.
It's I think I've had that problem in music and in design, and at some point you just have to learn to let that shit go, you know?
Yeah, and just do whatever you want to do, and hopefully people will like it. Do you what kind of stuff do you have lined up then for the channel, if you feel like you've kind of done a lot and I feel like you've cornered this like acid graphics kind of style? Like I know people have talked to me about your channel that aren't designers, because they wanted to learn how to design some shit for their like all my friends that do like house and techno, they watch like the rave shapes and shit like that, you know?
Oh really? That's actually super cool.
Yeah, because they don't want to like pay someone to do it, so they're like, I'm just gonna they're all into the whole like, you know, unbranded like vinyl records, like the old techno shit with just the little labels on them and stuff. So
the white labels.
So you kind of have that market, I feel like, cornered in a way, but what else are you kind of planning on doing in the next maybe year or so?
So there has been a couple of setbacks recently, office wise, but from what it's looking like now, I should be able to move into my first office in around February.
Dope.
And the plan is to take Dreadlabs into the physical world a little bit more, and see if I can engage with a couple of creatives here in the area with stuff like networking events, stuff like that. Also, music is going to be a bigger part, and I've been saying that for over a year now, because I remember making a Dreadlabs 2021 video saying, "Oh, I'm going to do more music stuff this year." Also, a couple of setbacks there, but I want to do more music-related content. Like you said, I noticed that a lot of producers watch a lot of my videos because they want to learn design, and I was like, we've talked about this before, but I'm passionate about music and about design and art and clothing, and I want to make that. I wanted to make Dreadlabs some more of an all-round channel in those specific niches. So I want to do more music-related stuff in the future, and I want to keep going with starting a clothing brand series. And actually launch like the clothing brand somewhere next year as well. You know, and the cool thing about like when you do more with music and clothing is that you can combine it into what I said earlier about the physical space. You know, like so I live in the city of Tilburg now, and I see a lot of potential here that this could be like the Berlin of Europe, so to say. So I would really like to play my part in that with Dreadlabs, you know, see if I can connect creatives with each other, see if I can establish Dreadlabs here and make, you know, like not revolve Tilburg around Dreadlabs, but the other way around. Maybe like I want to be an asset in putting the city of Tilburg on the map as a creative city, you know?
That's dope.
So yeah, that's what I want to work towards in the coming year.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think it's good to diversify. And I just sometimes, do you ever feel that, like I sometimes feel I have, you know, the design, the podcast, and then miscellaneous stuff like productivity. I like, I'm into like fucking stuff like keyboards and like gadgets and things. Like I want to expand into the whole like that kind of space too, like just tech. But sometimes I feel like when you have a certain size audience, and then it also like isolates the other people. Like some people probably are on my channel and they don't give a fuck about anything I have to say at all. Like they're here for the guest podcast, right? Right. And then there's probably other people that are like, I don't even like the podcast. I like the videos. I like the design. And then other people may think I only like the ones where you're talking about like freelancing or money or whatever. And sometimes I feel like even though we're in a niche, I'm almost like spreading it out too much. But then if I don't do that, I think I'll get bored and just not do anything, you know?
Right.
So it's kind of weird.
You've probably had the same thing then where, like, for example, you know how when you post a new video to YouTube and you go to YouTube Creator Studio, it says
1 out of 10?
Yeah, the 1 out of 10 thing.
Yeah.
It's been so obvious. Like when I post a graphic design tutorial, it's always in the top 3 at least. When I do something music related, it's number 10. And with the starting a clothing brand series, it's always like around number 5-ish.
The middle.
But then when it's like more of a administrative clothing brand thing, for example, like how to set up your website or which is better, like WooCommerce or Shopify.
Slower.
Always slower.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I kind of need to. They just make it so appealing to get that number 1, but it's something that you have to let go as well. You know, same goes for like when you have less likes on a post or whatever, or when your reel doesn't like go viral, so to speak.
Yeah, I hate that shit. The fucking my ones are always like stuff that I know is gonna be a 1. It's like, here's like these fonts, or like here's this shit that everyone's just gonna click on, you know, like
the obvious shit,
like clickbait almost. Like I've been trying to do more like not clickbait, but like clickbait and the titles be exciting, but also like it's gonna go over what I'm saying. But I used to be way too like 10 blah 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 blah. Now I've been trying to write stuff like, yo, like check this out for this, like more exciting or whatever. And then my 10s will usually be podcasts will either be a 1 or a 10, you know, like
depending on the guest.
Right. So they can be a 1, and like I've had some where it's like I think it's going to be like a high and it's a 10, and you're just like, fuck, like I guess no one wanted this or like to see this.
Yeah, you kind of feel bad.
Yeah, but yeah, I try not to. I know it's kind of meta what we're talking about, but I'm sure anyone that's ever posted anything knows what that's like. And even it's the same with the Instagram and stuff and likes. Yeah. And it makes you really want to do the shit that worked well again, even if you don't like want to, you know?
Yeah. You know what like my theory is? Like I feel like when people can immediately click on it when they're like on the bathroom, then it goes to number 1, you know? But like, for example, if you go to the toilet and you want to click on a video, you're not going to click on a 1 hour long video, but you're going to click on like a quick video that says 5 fonts because you're going to remember that, you know? I feel like that's not specifically the toilet, of course, but something that you can easily digest real quick. That's going to get to number 1 earlier.
That's why I feel like with podcasts, like they start to get more views later because people are like, I'll listen to that on Sunday or whatever.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like you're not just going to see a podcast and be working on some shit and be like, all right, let me just do this for an hour, you know? But you may you may get distracted and watch, you know, how to make wireframe graphics or whatever, like that shit. Do you still have because I was going to ask you about that too. So you've hit like 1 million views, right? On all your stuff put together.
Yep.
And what do you think caused like all those ones that popped off to like, cause they're probably like what, 25% of the total, like of everything. Some of those few big ones that you had.
Yeah, I think even more. Like I feel like my most viewed video is like it's a little over 150,000 or something. Yeah.
What do you think caused that, like to do so much better than other stuff? Do you think it's just kind of luck, or do you actually think? Obviously, I feel like if you're like me, you would think that you think all the videos you make are the best that you can, right? So I'm wondering, like, what do you think? You know, what do you think happened with those?
I think a couple of them are, for example, the most video, if you won the wireframe video one, I feel like that one's, I remember in 2018 searching how to do those certain graphics on Illustrator, and I only found like 2 videos, and they only had like 2 or 3K views. And it were 2 videos, and they went over 2 different things, and I was like, why didn't combine them in one video? And I think it's just one of those things where no one has bothered to make a proper video yet.
That makes sense.
And then another one that's been one of my most viewed videos is it's like a video of a live stream that I did on Twitch back in the day, and I made like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I feel like it was like it's just a niche. I think it's I think it has something to do with, because I get a lot of requests when for people that want me to make playing cards, like Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or So I feel like it also has like it ties in well with like a niche or a specific thing they want to see. And I think it's the same for like rave graphics, because the 5 rave graphics video series does well, and there's also like a rave flyer that does well. So I think it's just like combining design with either like Pokemon cards or like rave flyers or whatever.
Yeah,
those specific niches I think work really well.
That's what's crazy is we were talking about like it's already so niche, and even in that you have to like make it even more specific, right? Like because like just graphic design is so much things, but you have to be like graphic design, Y2k, Yu-Gi-Oh, rave card, like it's like hella specific. And then sometimes don't you feel that if it gets too much, it's like, who even likes this? Like it's so specific. Like, is this even a category that people are into,
Yeah, and even like I'm still like I cannot wrap my head around like that. Like we're talking about a niche here, and still 150,000 people watched like one specific video, which is like Then for the same was like when I was looking at like the amount of followers that Ed and Fox Rocket have. Like I think Fox Rocket is over 100K.
Yeah.
But like, and I think like Black Market, they are also like at 80 or 90K, I think.
Yeah.
Just know, like, and some people just tell me like, isn't Dreadlabs already at the peak of its niche? Didn't you get like every follower from that niche? And are you now at the peak or at the ceiling of what you can achieve with like community wise? And I see those guys and I'm like, nah, I think it's just only like it keeps on growing, even if it's slow,
Right. Well, I mean, like Elliot, he has probably, I think, the largest and most dedicated fan base of graphic design that I've ever seen, because everyone likes him. They like his stuff. They like people that even don't like it have to admit that it's like clever, Yeah. And then he also has fans that a lot of normal people I know follow him just because they're like, this
it's
is
just like funny stuff as well. Yeah. And it's basically a super nice design meme page.
Right. And he can post, he's really gotten the whole, like, I think 1,000 true fans thing. Like he can just be like, I'm doing this, and everyone goes and watches it. And so if someone can do that, then obviously, you haven't capped or whatever, whatever they were saying. So I think also like there's no such thing as like the limit is only whoever's the limit can always just keep increasing it and increasing it. Like there's just more and more people. There's people that have hundreds of thousands of followers that all they do is, like knit or some shit, like something super specific. So.
And even like, have you seen Curry Goat? Do you know him?
Yeah, he's dope. Yeah. The rug shit.
Yeah. And he keeps on doing new stuff and learning new stuff. Mm-hmm. So also, if you've never, or there is no, I don't even think there is a limit on, for example, what Elliot can teach people or what Elliot can do himself. There will always be different types of content to do with what he does, like comedy, but also design and tutorials. There's an unlimited amount of things that you can make in software as Photoshop or whatever. So there's never really a cap, and you can always expand on that or broaden out or go into one specific direction, So I feel like the cap isn't there just because you can just change the road you're taking, I guess.
Do you know Hypeland, the brand?
No.
They're like a streetwear brand, but they do all these collaborations with anime. Like they just did a Yu-Gi-Oh collection, and I always reference them because the guy like Jordan Bentley, he lives out here. He was just into streetwear and into anime, and a lot of those cultures, like, and when he first started, weren't really like crossover, and he just started doing all these crazy collaborations, and now like he completely doubled his size because he has like the hype beast people that are like, oh, I want this like rare like hoodie, and then he has all the weebs that are like, oh fuck, like Hunter collaboration or whatever, you know, and like
give me that body pillow.
Right, you can always like just manipulate what you're doing and like make it to a different audience, like like you have the rave people that probably are more into that kind of culture than design, and then there's probably designers that follow you that don't care about, you know, techno and stuff at all, but that's that way you have both, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just like cool to at least try to engage with all of those communities and see what you as a content creator also like to do, and with whom you like to engage with, I guess.
I see a lot more people. I feel like obviously neither of us are the first to do anything online with like design and YouTube, but I've seen a lot of people starting out either wanting to make videos, or they're starting, or they're talking about it. A lot of people streaming, it seems like, design, like every day I feel like another like Twitch stream. Do you have, as someone who's done pretty well and figured it out, would you have any advice for anyone getting into creating video content?
I guess, well, I have a couple of tips, I guess. The first one is see if you want to do tutorials or live streams or whatever, if you want to teach people, I would suggest like seeing what your unique wisdom is and what you can teach people, because there's always something that you know or what's really obvious to you that might not be so obvious for other people. And for example, I remember when I was like, I wanted to do like a poster in Photoshop or something. But I tried to make the layout in Illustrator first, and then Jack from Album Art Archive told me like, "Oh, I never really do this in Illustrator like that." And it's super interesting to see you approach this in such a different way than I would. And there is no wrong or right here, but it's always nice to see someone else's workflow, no matter which software or what creative practice, I guess. And another one is. Also from Jack, actually, he told me this. You just said like as someone who figured it out, but like even if you just blow up or something, that doesn't really mean that like you've cracked the code or whatever, you know. Like I remember him telling, he asked the Fox Rocket Studio guy, I don't know him personally, but he asked him like how did he blow up so fast with like posts, and he was like, oh, I don't know, I just posted this and it just happened, you know. Like it also so with like growth and everything, it also like involves, I think, a little bit of luck or blessings from the algorithm gods or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, don't really I would say don't feel like if it's not working out or if it's going like a little bit slowly, don't give up immediately, because it might take some time.
I mean, I think that's a good, like, you can't predict anything. I mean, I'm kind of a walking example. I feel like I've slowly gotten better and better at what I do, but I haven't had anything go like viral, but that doesn't mean like I've also seen it grow just over time, like linearly more, you know?
Right.
So like, yeah, like, and then you can, as long as you're just, I think my approach to things is as long as every time you do something, like you try to just make it even the 1% better, you know, each time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I even look back at the shit I did in the beginning. I'm like, no wonder that shit didn't fucking go anywhere. Like it's not good, you know, like everything always seems way worse in hindsight when you look back at it.
Right. And you can also just see this in the progress you've made. And I think you've had the same, where after you passed like the 1,000 subscribers, the time in between from 0 to 1,000 is way longer than between 1 and 2,000, for example.
Yeah, I think the amount it took me to 1,000 is as long as the time from then to now, which is like 3,000 something.
Right, yeah. I've had the same. Like I think I hit like 10,000 in February. And now, and that was like almost a year. And now we're in November. And
20,
I think like
something, right? Or 30?
In October somewhere we hit 30K.
Sick.
So yeah, it's been tripled within half of what it took to get 10,000.
It's exponential for sure.
Yeah.
That's why there's people that are in the millions that will lose like 100,000 followers in a day and gain like 200 or something, you know? Like, cause
if I ever get to that point, I would just like, I will hire someone to keep track of that because I don't want to even see it.
Yeah, I'm sure the charts and shit look crazy. If I would give advice, I know I asked you, but to anyone is I would try not to get too obsessed with that shit because it's easy to go into the analytics and get obsessed with it and try to figure out. But the more you do that, the less time you're just spending actually trying to make better shit, you know?
Also, it's way more fun to actually create stuff that you like or do stuff that you want to do compared to like watching a subscriber count or a follower count go up or down.
Yeah, so definitely.
It happens on its own. You don't need to be there to watch it, I guess.
One of the last things I wanted to ask you is how do you prevent yourself from burning out doing the Creatober thing? Was it stressful or is it? You've done it twice now, right? Yeah,
I've done it twice. This time I did a little bit more preparation. And I always try to be transparent about this because I feel like a couple of people, I've had a lot of questions where it's like, oh, I skipped a day. Can do I still participate? Or, and the thing is, it can be like a super hard challenge. And even like when you're, for example, compared to what is it called, the
365 or something?
No, the doodle thing.
Inktober.
So wow. Inktober, it also can take a lot of time, obviously, but it can also mean that you can do a quick doodle and then ink that one. And with like Creatober, some people can force themselves to work on a 3D model for 4 hours and then do materials and render it out and animate it or whatever. So, and because of that, it's obvious that not everyone has like 2 or 3 hours in the day to work on something and post it, you know? So, I try to advise everyone to do just, if you really want to do every day, just plan ahead, and otherwise just skip a couple of days. See which words you like up front and then just mark them. But yeah, what I did was I had the prompt list ready, I think around by the end of August or something. And from December onward, I tried to make at least 1 or 2, maybe even 3 per week. So I had a couple of, so I had like a little bit of a bulk before it's actually started being October. But this was also because I was going on a holiday for a week in October, so I didn't really have to do time to do 25 until 31. So I had to do those and have the time-lapse edit and the Patreon files ready, and the Instagram posts ready. So yeah, besides only creating it, I also had to create a lot of content around it, which is why I really planned ahead. But it really drains you. I noticed that I think it was like around like number 23 or 24. I just noticed that my brain didn't feel like coming up with something cool anymore, you know, like it was just like really like completely empty. So I tried to take a break for like 2 or 3 days and just like try not being involved in Creatober and only like do the teaching thing. And that really helps as well, you know, like recharging. But yeah, mostly like planning ahead, and don't feel bad if you work ahead or overtake if you miss a couple of days.
Right.
That's really important.
I think that's good to don't stress about it. I one of my subscribers, dude, like his name's like Dead Pace on Instagram. He did the like 30 days of like villains, which were like different horror characters basically. And I knew I wanted to do the challenge, but I knew that I wasn't gonna do shit for 30 days just because I had other shit that I had to do. So I just popped in and did like the 3 that I liked. It was like the Clockwork Orange, the Shining, and the Exorcist, because I liked those days, and they kind of just worked with the schedule I already had. And I feel like that's fine. Like if you, especially with the people that do the everyday thing, like no one's going to remember if you skipped a few days or like did them. No one's going to know either if you did a whole week's worth on a Saturday, you know, like it's good not to stress yourself out about it too much. And it's all just for fun anyway.
Yeah. And there are no actual consequences. And even if you miss a day with posting, you can get punished by the algorithm, but like other than that, there aren't any real actual consequences that have that much of an effect on you or your page, or
Also, like, as bitter or maybe like as like pessimistic as it sounds, like no one cares,
Yeah.
like
Right.
no one's like sitting there thinking like, damn, Tom didn't post today, like what am I gonna do or whatever. Like, they have so much other shit to look at. Everyone has so much things always coming in. Like some people I see on their stories, they're like, oh, I'm back from like a break for a month, and I'm like, I didn't even know they left, because there's just so much shit to look at all the time.
It's just so much. Like I the other day I was just like scrolling back to like the first people that I follow with Dreadlabs and stuff, and a lot of them are still active, but there's also a couple of ones that was like, wow, I completely forgot that you started or that you stopped posting, and I was like a really big fan of your work, but. Yeah, it's and then I got kind of sad because it's like, oh wow, you can just completely forget that this person exists, but that's just what happens with this oversaturated community,
Yeah, like you really have to be just in front of people. Like I remember I talked to Keezy again from Black Market about how when he rolls out a product, like that's why when they did like I think it was the Exograde or something, they were posting every day for like a week, and I said, don't you think that people are like, is that spamming, or like every day you're like, buy this? And then they said, no, because every person doesn't see it every time, like probably only a few people saw every single one and were like, oh, this is too much. But most people, like you have to mention shit like 10 times. I still have people tell me like, you do YouTube or whatever. Like I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like, all right. It's been like over a year, so.
Yeah, that's actually what happens. And otherwise, like, you, even if you get a mean comment or someone gets annoyed, like on a greater scale, that's nothing. It's so much more like profitable, I guess, in the case of Black Market, to just do this big social rollout.
Right.
And I feel like it also sometimes it's just like, especially with those like, like the gradient heat map trend. It's like I feel like I've seen the same one sometimes, like if someone posts one new one every day, I just sometimes I just think that I've seen the same one like 5 times, So also it doesn't really matter whether someone thinks, oh, this guy is posting every day and spamming, or oh, I just see the same post every day, or it just happens, I guess.
Yeah, I've also felt that way with like I've been planning out some new videos and to a couple of tutorials, and then also just like topics, and I realized like most things have been done, it's just I haven't done them, like
right.
You can always like me telling you my 5 whatever like favorite places to eat ice cream or whatever, right? That's going to be a way different perspective than yours. It doesn't matter that they're the same thing, they're entirely different. Like even if some of these I see the biggest YouTubers, like they're just talking about concepts that have been around for like thousands of years. It's just they repackage them into like a TikTok or whatever, and it's just like there's nothing new under the sun, but there's also like there is an opportunity to like your audience may not have seen it though, So,
yeah, that's exactly right, man.
But I think other than that, we're gonna head over to the Patreon and do a little Q&A with Tom.
All right.
But I appreciate you coming on again, man. It was great to catch up.
It was really fun.
All right. Check out Dreadlabs on everything, YouTube and all that. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right. See you next time.